Yo, 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 CTB, Chin Tuck Boxing. I'm your boy Jay Slay. Say what up to him, man.
What's up, everybody? Remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification button, comment. Let's keep this channel growing. You know why? Because we love boxing and you love boxing.
That's a fact, that's a fact. This is the place where the fight fans come to get these delicious entrees of boxing knowledge. What's on the menu today for him, bro?
Let's talk about what Terrence Crawford had to say about the fight with him and Earl Spence at the Virgil Ortiz Maurice Hooker fight.
Let's do it. Uh, yeah, man. I would say this is in response to what Earl Spencer put out last week in a tweet. Where he put a tweet out saying that once he gets the third belt, we'll see you holding the fight up. So would you say this is a Terrence Crawford response to that tweet?
Yeah, I think it's somewhat his response to, I guess, what like you said, Earl Spence said last week, because he didn't initially respond to it. So if I had to say, yeah, this had something to do with that also. So I guess the way he responded is a slight build up for how he's feeling about the situation. So I mean,
What exactly did he say for the people who didn't hear what he said?
I mean, not verbatim, but for the most part, he said that pretty much he ain't worried about the fight no more. It's history. That fight ain't happening. He's past it. He's pretty much moving on. Pretty much what he said for the most part. For anybody that didn't hear it, I mean, if you want to hear it word for word, you can look it up on YouTube and you can see it. But that's pretty much what he said in a nutshell.
Yeah,
And
I'll put a link in the bio.
okay, and I mean, my response to it, man, is both of them, man, gonna have to remove some of their pride, man, somewhat, because the fight's too big not to be made. As far as the fight being made on the business side, I have to put more to blame on Crawford, because I think he has to realize that he's not the A side, and until he realizes he's not the A side in the negotiations, it's never gonna get made, because he believes he's the A side off his accolades and accomplishments, which he is a accomplished fighter, and the fight itself is a 50-50 fight. So yeah, if you go by who you think is more likely to win 50-50 fight, it will be a 50-50 split. But that's not how you decide a split in boxing. Boxing splits are mostly somewhat decided by accomplishments and accolades, but a lot of it is decided by the money you generate from pay-per-views, from live gates. So we all know that Terrence Crawford is not selling and packing arenas like Spence. So when he says it's gonna be 50-50 or nothing, until he come off that high horse, we're gonna keep bumping heads. And I think what he said at that fight, he shouldn't have said that, because then if the fight gets made or start to talk about it, people say, "Oh, I thought you didn't want that fight," whatever, whatever. And it's like, if you don't take the fight, what the fuck you gonna do? I mean, at this point, if you're not willing to fight Spence, you say it's history. You can't go up to 154 and fight Charlo because he's with the same company. You're gonna have the same issues. You can't fight Porter because he's with PBC too. So if you don't fight Porter, you don't fight Charlo, you don't fight Spence, what the fuck you gonna do? So when you say that, you got to think and realize that you talking out the side of your ass, because in order to get the biggest fights in your career, it's gonna have to be through some of those fights through PBC. So I understand you wanna it's a business, and us as the fans need to stop counting people money and sit back and let them handle it. And hopefully they, like I said earlier, one of our early videos, I hope they get quiet, because I think when things go quiet, that means that maybe PBC and Top Rank is talking and negotiating. Long as everything is in Twitter and in the media, and everybody's talking about it and talking about numbers, this fight ain't gonna never get done. So to Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence, hey man, let's keep it quiet. Y'all talk amongst y'allself like two grown men. Y'all figure it out, man, because y'all got a chance to make one of the biggest fights in boxing history, and you'll go down in history of boxing. When they tell the story of boxing, y'all'll be a part of that, man. When they tell, they talk about the four horsemen, they talk about Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali. As they get to this stage, Terrence Crawford and Spence's name will come up, and they can't never take that away from you. You can make all the money in the world, you can do all the accomplishments you want, but to be a part of, if they can't tell boxing history without telling that fight, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm just saying, think about stuff like that, and both of them need to get off their high horse and try to work out a deal.
Yeah, man. I agree. Once they stop negotiating to the media, they'll be able to get a lot more shit done. I'm not a pocket counter. I never been the type of person that count pockets. I don't see the point in that. That's not a fan's place to call out what a split should be. So I won't play that game. But what I will say is, I kind of see both of their viewpoints. I see Earl Spence's viewpoint when he was saying he brings the people in, he brings the crowd to sell more tickets. I also see Crawford's point, which was when he was pushing for the fight back before. I think it was right after the Jeff Horn fight. I think Spence at the time had one title. He just at that point he was just beating Kell Brook. He just beat Kell Brook for the belt. When Crawford was trying to make that fight, then Earl Spence said, "No, we wait. That's the big fight. We want to wait and make that build." It was Earl Spence side of the street, and then I think Earl Spence then beat who he beat somebody else. I want to say, yeah, I want to say Earl. I think he got a second belt then. I think.
Mikey.
No, it wasn't.
No, he beat
It was Mikey. Yep, it was Mikey. The Mikey pay-per-view.
Yeah, he got the second belt. Then he beat Mikey. No, he beat
he
Sean Porter, but he beat Mikey when he started to become more,
yeah,
pay-per-view worthy after the Mikey fight.
Yeah, he fought Mikey
Sean Porter.
Yeah, exactly. So after the Mikey fight, I think not Earl Spence, but I think Crawford then was trying to push for the fight then, and he got told to wait because Crawford wanted to clean up his side of the street, which means he wanted to get the other two belts that PBC had at that time. So here goes now, almost 2-3 years later. Now Spence saying now, once I get this third belt, then we'll see who was holding up what. Kind of saying the same thing he's been saying since then. Let me clean up my side of the street first, and then we'll see if he can fight. He pretty much said the same thing in his tweet, and Crawford kind of bring a lot of that. Crawford's like, yo, I'm saying it's dead. It is what it is. I'm not chasing it no more. I didn't chase it. So I kind of agree with that. As far as who gets 50-50 or who gets 60-40 or whatever numbers they said it was, as far as that goes, that's part of negotiating. If the guy who wants 50-50 or the guy who wants a 60-40 split, if they can't just say, yo, let's meet in the middle and I'll give you 55-45. If they can't sit down and negotiate like that and they both sitting in their corners, like with their arms folded, like, I'm not taking from them unless it's 50-50. I'm not taking unless it's 60-40. With their arms folded, then neither one of them want to fight. I'm just going to be real. 10% shouldn't ruin a fight that ESPN's First Take had last week saying was the biggest, most weighted fight that could be made. That 10% shouldn't hull up neither one of them. It didn't stop Wilder Fury. It didn't stop none of the big fights from happening. Mm-hmm. A lot of the big fights that happened that we don't know the purse splits, what their purse splits were. That's how it's supposed to be negotiated.
Now I will say this, and we don't like the pocket watch, but because we are a podcast and it is a big topic, we have to kind of do it. So now we're doing it. The question: if you're Earl Spence and you're in his same position, do you give your 10% up?
I would, because there's no biggest fight in the end of the division. So whether he paid the man 50-50 or 60-40, it's still gonna be $100 million fight. He's still gonna get a lot of money, more money than he will get fighting anybody else in that weight division. He damn sure not gonna move up, because the big fight for him if he move up in weight will be Charlo, and they're in the same training camp. They're in the same camp. So it's no moving up to no big fights unless you jump all the way up the middleweight and say I'm fighting Canelo. I don't see him doing that either.
See, now,
hold on, I'm gonna finish the question. But also, if I'm Crawford, I will also take 60-40. Like, it goes both ways with me. I don't pocket watch. Like, if I'm Crawford, I'm still gonna make more money fighting him than I would fight anybody else in the division. And the same things go for him. I'm not about to move up to 154 like he said he is. Now, at this point in time, before I even had the biggest fight that's in my division I'm at now. So both of them, if I'm saying both of them is being stubborn. It's like they're a married couple that don't want to. This is a married couple that don't want to share a bed. They got the husband on the couch and the wife sitting in the bedroom. It's like that type of shit. Somebody got to come to the other person first and say, all right, I apologize, just make this shit happen. Until that happens, then it's gonna be two kids fighting over basketball, man. And I
get what you're saying. I really do. And The problem I have is even in life. I tell my daughter, I tell my significant other, I say, man, when it comes down to talking about certain things, I believe in compromising, but also being fair. I said, that's all I ask you, be fair. So the problem I have is the 60-40 to me is extremely fair. So I don't understand Terrence Crawford angle of asking for more than 40%. I don't get it. I sit around because what I do, I put myself in the fighter's shoes and try to figure out what he could be leveraging to ask for more than 40%. I understand Spence asking for 60%. I get it. You sold more pay-per-views. You got bigger live gates. You have 2 of the belts. You are about to get a 3rd belt. You are the bigger star. I understand why you are asking for 60%. I don't understand why Terrence Crawford is asking for 50%. And if I'm Earl Spence, if I put the work in to get myself and I with the right company, because that has a lot to do with it. I'm gonna say that too. Because Top Rank fucked Bud Crawford over. They didn't promote him right. They didn't put him out there as a superstar. The guy is maybe the most talented boxer in the game. He's #1 pound for pound in a lot of people's list. And he's not able to sell pay-per-views because Bob don't know how to manage a black fighter. I mean, truth be told. And you learn that all the way back from Mayweather. He dropped the ball on fucking Mayweather. The most biggest grossing boxer of all time, he dropped the ball on him. They didn't know what to do with him. And then Mayweather leaves Bob Arum and he becomes Money Mayweather, what you see today. Now you got Bud Crawford, and you had the same opportunity to promote this guy and put him out there on the biggest sports network, and you drop the ball again. But PBC, I have to give them their credit. They moved Spence right. They put him in the right fight, in the right position, put him on pay-per-view. And because of the move that PBC made and his advisor, Al Heyman, gave him, it put him in a position to get 60-40 and maybe the biggest fight in boxing. And if I'm Spence, the work he put in and his company put in that he did with PBC, I wouldn't give that 10% up because he earned it. He earned it. You know what I'm saying? I know you got a lot of accolades. I know you was undisputed at 140. I know you won a belt at 135. I know you the WBO champion at 147. And on your Hall of Fame speech and your resume, that shit gonna look good. But it don't bring money to a fucking fight. It's not gonna pay but in the seat, and it's not gonna pay for pay-per-views. It is what it is.
I'm gonna tell you why Crawford will have a case for 50-50. I'm gonna just go ahead and say this.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you why. Number one, it takes 2 in the fight. I don't care what, like you said, I don't care what the accolades are. I don't care who put butts in the seats. An anticipated fight, a highly anticipated fight, means the crowds are split on who you think will win.
That's true.
So with that being said, it's not so much of, well, it is a lot of being putting butts in the seat. I agree with that, but it's always going to be that one fighter in your division that it will be no fight bigger than that fight. It's going to be one fighter only in your division, and if you're lucky, that you actually will have that level of fight with. Crawford is that fight for Spence, and Spence is that fight for Crawford. Being that there's only those 2. And Crawford is no scrub. Crawford, like you said, he has his accolades. He has his pound for pound status. He bringing all that to the table. It was so much so that Spence told Crawford that he had to wait to clean up his side of the street before he folded him, because Spence knew he had nothing to negotiate with. He knew if he had 1 belt, Crawford had 1 belt, it would have had to been 50-50. It would have been no negotiating. All Crawford could have did what Spence doing now and saying you only got 1 belt, no experience. So I want 60-40. So yeah, so you said PBC moving right. It's kind of easy to do when everybody's on your side of the street. If it wasn't going to be like that, if Spence went to 140 and for them then, because everybody at 140 at that time was on Bob Arum's side. So it would have been the same thing if Spence moved down for that fight. By them being the only 2 in the whole division that can sell those type of pay-per-views together, like I said, I'm gonna say before, that 10% is a dumb negotiating block. It's a dumbass block on both sides.
Okay, so, I can say that.
So you keep saying that you don't see what Crawford would say to earn 10%. The 10% difference is it's nobody else he's gonna make that money with. It's not about who put butts in the seats and all that. That's part of it. But the biggest part of it is the overall hunger for that fight between fans.
But does that go both ways?
I
It's
said
no
it
bigger
did.
fight for Crawford. So I can say if I'm Spence, I can say the same thing you say. If I give you 40%, you ain't gonna make no. I don't care what fight you get. The 40% I get you will be your biggest payday, no matter what. So the point I'm making is they both can say that. But so when you go back and forth about it's the biggest fight, you can do this, we can do that. Why are we gonna let 10% get in the way? And they both going back and forth. If they can't come to a deal, then you just got to go by the numbers. You got to cut your feelings
No,
out.
no, no. That's not how it works. That's not how negotiation works. If you say 60-40, my negotiating points would have come back. I'm not taking 60-40. I'll take 65-45. Or I'll give you 50-50 on merch, but I'll give you 60-40 on merch, but I want 50-50 on pay-per-view sales. That's how negotiating works. Negotiating ain't just, okay, what do you bring to the table for to get that? I bring this. Okay, what do you got to match that? I got this.
What is Crawford bringing?
I
When it
told
comes
you.
to money generated.
Come on. We have me going around in circles. I told you that.
What he bringing?
He brings the pay-per-view. Number one, he brings pound for pound status. Is the he the only person. I'll put it this way. He's the only person Crawford will have a fight with to make the money Crawford going to make. I mean, the Spence going to make. Spence is not going to make the money he'll make fighting Crawford. Fighting who? Who's trying to fight next? Who got the belt now? Ugas. So you're gonna fight Ugas and make what? Then you're gonna fight who will make what? You're gonna move up and wait and fight Charlo. It'll be the only fight that you will make the Crawford type money, but you're not doing that. That's what I'm saying. So you keep saying Crawford not bringing the money, but he is, because he's bringing the fans who think Crawford will beat Spence. He bringing those fans, and he bringing the fans that people think Spence will beat Crawford. He's bringing the pound for pound status. Not only that, he's bringing a network. He's bringing a whole nother network, which is ESPN. So that's going to be a more wider audience, not just on PBC Fox. It's going to be PBC Fox and ESPN promotions. It's going to be. There's no other fight that he can do that. That's when you both sit down and say, okay, you're not going to take 60-40. I'll give you 65-45, or I'll give you 50% on the merch, and I take 60% on the pay-per-view sales. You have to negotiate a fight.
But
having an argument,
I understand what you're saying, but if you hear yourself talking, you wanting Spence to do all you want him to give up his part he earned. You're not asking Crawford to give nothing.
If ESPN, okay, let's put it this way. Let's do this. ESPN is number one sports broadcast in the whole world.
Yes.
They are so much in control of that narrative in the sport. They made Lomachenko number one pound for pound. They made Triple G pound for pound number one. They made Fury look like an American heavyweight and made him look like the next white Jesus.
Yes.
That is a network that Crawford fights on. They tried. It's not Crawford's fault that their opponents that he had in the ring, which was the Americans and the Carol Brooks. It's not his fault he dispatched them so easily. It's not his fault that they was in the position that they was in to quote unquote be forced to take his fight because they wanted that step up again. Mm-hmm. That's not his job. Is to go in there and fight and win the fight. With that being said, this CTB Chin Tuck Boxing, let him out of here, man.
All right, everybody. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification button, comment. Let's keep this channel growing. You know why? Because we love boxing and you love boxing. But most of all, peace and love, and we out of here.